October 5th will mark the 60th anniversary of the James Bond franchise. As an avid fan of the series, I have decided to commemorate that date by reviewing all of the films from my least favourite to my most favourite. Please be warned, these reviews will involve spoilers. Also, I will be including the 1967 James Bond spoof Casino Royale and the unofficial 1983 Bond film Never Say Never Again in my rankings. I don't think there are too many people who would rank the 9th James Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun, particularly highly. An inconsistent mess that fails to live up to its potential, this is a film that rates towards the bottom of my Bond rankings. The Man with the Golden Gun's biggest problem is its complete lack of a consistent tone. It does not know whether it wants to be a thriller or an action comedy. As a result, you get scenes that contradict one another. Bond's interrogation of Lazar, played by Marn Maitland, is dark and gritty, whereas the car chase is played mostly for laughs. Another major problem is the film's muddled story. The Man with the Golden Gun never seems to know what direction it wants to go in. At the start of the film, the audience is led to believe that Francisco Scaramanga, aka the Man with the Golden Gun, is targeting James Bond for assassination. Later, however, a MacGuffin in the form of the Solex agitator, an unnecessary plot device inspired by the then relevant energy crisis, is introduced. It would have been far better if the Man with the Golden Gun had jettisoned the Solex agitator and kept it at the Bond versus Scaramanga level. The idea of the world's greatest assassins facing off against each other is brilliant. An alternative plot might have seen Scaramanga threaten an important official. As a result, Bond is sent to neutralise this threat. The film could have seen Bond track Scaramanga down before climaxing in a final showdown between the two men. Roger Moore's performance as Bond is solid throughout this film, but not as good as either Live and Let Die or The Spy Who Loved Me. The problem is that the director, Guy Hamilton, tries to transform Roger Moore into a tough guy. It simply doesn't work. This is particularly evident when Bond interrogates Andrea Anders, played by Maud Adams. You can see how uncomfortable Roger Moore looks throughout the entire scene. Live and Let Die actually got Moore's Bond right. He's a scoundrel, but he's a charming scoundrel. A highlight of The Man with the Golden Gun is Christopher Lee's performance as Francisco Scaramanga. Originally, the filmmakers wanted to cast Jack Palance, but were forced to settle for Lee instead. Lee is brilliant in the role, bringing depth and nuance to a character who, if he were played by the wrong person, would be little more than a psychotic thug. Lee plays Scaramanga as a deadly assassin on the surface and a lonely, overgrown adolescent on the inside. An astute observer will note that Scaramanga only turns on Bond when Bond refuses his offer of friendship. Mary Goodnight, played by Britt Ekland, is one of the weaker Bond girls in the series. She has a great body, but little brains or agency. It would have worked far better if she had been relegated to the secondary Bond girl position, perhaps as the film's sacrificial lamb. Far better is Scaramanga's mistress, Andrea Anders. Unfortunately, Maud Adams doesn't have a lot to work with, however. Personally, I find Knick-Knack, played by Hervé Villechaize, more entertaining than Oddjob. Likewise, I do find Sheriff J.W. Pepper, played by Clifton James, funny, though I can't for the life of me figure out why he would be holidaying in Thailand. The Man with the Golden Gun is not helped by the fact that it was rushed into production. It was released just 18 months after Live and Let Die. More time should have been devoted into development and production. Instead, what we get is a film where the story is poorly developed and cinematography and editing seems rushed, and the sets, especially the funhouse, seem cheap and dated. My favourite part of the movie is the dinner between James Bond and Francisco Scaramanga. So much tension is built through staging and dialogue alone. My least favourite part of the movie is the car jump, a brilliant stunt that was ruined by a stupid sound effect.